usually working around most protected areas, like around Kapwepwe. In National Park, there's Game Rangers International. If you went to South Luangwa, there would be the Frankfurt Zoological Society around North Luangwa also. If you went to Lower Zambezi, there's Conservation Lower Zambezi. So there's a lot of community interaction. Yes, and then there's the Kasanka Trust. There's so many of them doing good work. But, and although that's important, in Lusaka, where the decisions actually get made, where the people with money and influence live, there's really not much being done, and that's I think yes, and exactly that's where also the way the major consumers are. So if you want to disrupt a business, you have to attack the source, but you also have to deal with the demand. So, like with the bushmeat consumption, I think our main target is consumers to reduce the demand and therefore the pressure on wildlife population. So,
not to sound crazy, is there a possibility that we could have bushmeat consumed legally?
No, that's not crazy at
sold
all.
Yeah, so it's
So,
like rare.
I think so. One of the problems with the illegal market is there's no incentive for illegal market. If you know you can get it illegally, excuse me, number one, it's usually cheaper because these guys don't have any of the overheads that a farmer would have or a professional hunter. They don't have to get a license. They don't have to worry about quality control, refrigeration, packaging. I mean, you just go with sometimes a makeshift gun that costs you maybe 200 kwacha, kill a few animals and then sell them off. So with the legal market, there's two
when
things.
I asked people in the community, why are you destroying the environment? They said poverty. I said fine. What do you need? We need fertilizer. I said no, you don't need fertilizer to grow food. This fertilizer only came much later. I used to live with my grandmother in the village. That was 60 years ago. We never used fertilizer. We grew crops. There was crop diversity. It is no longer there. Government only buys maize. So we need to go back in order to help the communities. If you stop cutting trees, if you stop destroying the environment, then you have to put in something in place. There has to be an alternative. So fine, let's look at the crops which do not require fertilizer. I went to the Finnish embassy. They said, fine, fantastic idea, we'll fund you. I said, I want seed, I want beans, I want the indigenous crops that people used to grow before. I want beans, I want cassava cuttings, I want sorghum, I want millet. And they said, Mr. Popo will fund you. I want crops that will also address the issue of climate change, that we do not have problems when we grow these crops. I will also create a market. So because people are saying, if government only buys maize, so even if we grow these beans, where are we taking it? So I said, I'll find a market for you. At one time, WFP came and bought all the beans from us because they were selling the produce at such a low price because they're not working as a group. So when you get the communities to work together and they produce and you are able to negotiate a price for them. This year, we've grown soya beans. And I've told my members, the market is there. All these people who are into production of stock feed want soya beans. So this is what we've grown this year. Last year, because of climate change, we had a disaster with the beans. The rains came, disappeared for 3 weeks, and then came back again. But by then, it was too late. So they lost most of their crops. But we have to look at what other projects can we do. And we said one of the ways that you can have a very good project, which is beekeeping, conserve the forests. Because then you can have that project. So if you want to have caterpillars and things, you have to conserve the forest. So those are the things that we have to look at and say, the communities are ready. What they lack, especially in rural areas, is leadership. Where do they get the leadership from? How many people are willing to go and live in the village and give leadership? Even if it means you just coming for a week or two and say, we want to work with communities. I get university students from Japan. Even the experience of seeing a chicken being slaughtered, they've never seen it in there. They've seen it in the fridge. They've never seen a chicken running. And when they came, they said, Mr. Kapwepwe, can we slaughter a chicken? How do you get a chicken to be in the freezer? lot of tears because I said we have to slaughter it. We can't do it." So first there were tears, but when we cooked it, they were very happy. They ate it. These are the kind of things that your generation will be able to do. Charitable work, we do not know it as Zambians. It's black Zambians. We do not know charitable work. Even volunteering to go and work for, you want a salary immediately. Learn to volunteer and work. Come to Chinsani and say, "Mr. Kapwepwe, I'm coming to live with you on the farm. I want to work with you. I'll give you food, I'll give you a room to sleep. Don't worry, there'll be electricity and water in your I know you're not carrying water on your head, but I do have a house where there's electricity and water, so you'll be comfortable." But that is we need to start with you because it is your future that we are fighting for. When I look at the communities and what they are able to do, we're saying, you are growing these crops now, we need to start value addition, processing. I have an organization in USA, TICDA, who are funding me on value addition. What machinery can we get? In China, what I learned is that you start developing your country from village level by having very simple machinery. And it's only from the village that you'll be able to develop your country. But all we're thinking about is how do we set up, how do we get investors to come and pick up big factories in Lusaka? It is the people in the village who can develop this country. Because they want to survive. They don't have any other job. And unfortunately, our children only think of office job. Start thinking of employing instead of being employed. You have to start thinking of employing. The knowledge that you gain from university is not for you to go and sit in an office. You make much more money employing other people. Have a vision. What is it that you're going to do? Rural area, there's so much potential. The Chinese were telling me, give us Zambia. Just give us 3 years. Just give us water and land. We'll turn it around. We won't recognize it. We won't even touch your minerals. The other thing I've discovered is the laziness. We are lazy. I can mention few districts where I get impressed, like in Soka, Nakonde, my own district in Sali. I wish I'd come from where else. Elsewhere. And unless we start changing our attitude, you go across to Tanzania, people hardly sleep. They wake. I'm telling you, God is going to punish Zambia because He's given us everything. Water, land, everything. If there are people who are going to be whipped in heaven, we do not take what God has given us as a gift. There are other countries where they are fighting and killing each other over land. With so much land. And we're selling for a song. Chiefs, when I was going to the chiefs to talk to them about what we need to do in the communities, when we finished discussing with him, he says, Mr. Kapwepwe, I just wanted the 50 kwacha for a beer. And I said, I've been speaking to this man for 1 hour. And I think he's asking for money for a beer. Then you go to other chiefs who are very serious. I went to Chief Luchembe. He summoned all his headmen, 12 of them, and said, Mr. Kapwepwe, I want a project in each village. So you do have those chiefs that are serious about development in our own area. And then you have the others who want 50 kwacha for a beer. So you choose which people you can work with. Even government officials, civil servants can let you down. I had an incident where money was given after we'd been to Finland, looked at forest management with civil servants, and I was impressed. I said, this is a model we can use. Do you know, if we did not change Kaunda's policy of having woodlots in each district of Zambia, I actually went and visited all those areas where we had started plantations for each district. We had 52 districts then. So it means if we had those woodlots longest time, we would have been a timber producing country today. Even if we had said, fine, MMD wanted to change everything. I was in MMD, I was a member of parliament. But some of the things I did not agree with. Because if we had done that, even from MMD, even from PF, when they came into power and said, let's correct what MMD did. Let's go back to having plantations. Each district having a plantation today would be producing timber. If we are not able to do that, I've suggested to the chiefs, if we cannot have government plantations at district level, why don't we go to chiefdoms and create plantations? Every chief that takes over, you continue with that plantation. So that even the chiefs have become beggars, they can stop being beggars, because that's a long-term plan where you are saying we are empowering them. The projects that the communities are able to do, they can do together with the chiefs. I just want you to give an example where Minister of Gender has given transfers to chiefs in order to give women an opportunity to increase on their acreage when they're tilling. Not one single club or women have been given that tracker. The chiefs are holding on to those trackers. Lack of consultation. Because if they could even just go to NGOs within the rural areas and say, how do we work with women clubs? If they had even given that to an NGO and say, you run this and make sure that women clubs are actually, tilling the land, because we at 1 lima. My women are still 1 lima. We are not increasing the acreage because they don't have the capacity. So we need to find a way. How do we help these women start producing more? What kind of projects will help these women move from just hand to mouth? And that is what they are having in the rural areas. It's a hand to mouth. When now you even have the issue of climate change, you find that the poverty continues. We are not moving.